You tuned into another edition of the Can I Talk My Shift podcast. I am your host, Sam Walker Inspo on all social media platforms. And I'm with the lovely Lashawn G this evening. What's up?
You know.
What's good, babe?
Nothing.
What's really good with you?
You know what? I got my hair did.
Yeah, looking good.
Actually, it's last week.
I missed the mohawk.
We didn't give it acknowledgement.
I got a shirt that's coming out that says Mohawk Missing. Call Inspo when found. I can't wait to drop that, Jake. Because I love the Mohawk. I do.
I do too.
I may be a Mohawk bias. I don't know. It is what it is. I love it. I love this though too. I love it.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep it looking appropriate and decent.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. To anybody,
so that's what's going on.
Okay. To anybody that's listening, I hope that you do tune in to the video version so you can catch Lashawn's many hairstyles that I've grown to know and love in our 3+ years of relationship.
How are you doing?
Yo, I'm good, man. Consistency. I'm happy for us.
I am too. I'm very happy for it because it's consistency.
Yeah.
Ooh. Get it out.
Get it out. Yo, so today, we don't plan on keeping y'all long. We don't plan on keeping y'all long at all. We're going to jump into a topic that we mentioned in last week's episode, and it is will versus discipline.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you're just tuning in, Can I Talk My Shift is the #1 place for self-accountability, self-awareness, and leadership in life after loss, right? And so we are going to jump into discipline, what exactly it is, what it entails, along with will. And we're going to debate a little bit on if you need either or, if you need both, do they both need each other? And then we're going to top it off with a book of the week, courtesy of Lashawn. But I think I'm going to actually do that one this time.
Yeah, book of the week is sponsored by Can I Talk My Shift podcast.
Here we go.
And Samuel will be giving us this week's book of the week.
For sure.
Before we get started, we do want to thank you all for joining us and remind you to subscribe to the channel.
Click. Subscribe.
Shoot us comments, leave us questions if you have questions. If you have any ideas or suggestions for podcast episodes, let us know. I mean, that's the only way that everybody is going to know that we exist is if you subscribe, you share, and you download the episode and send the link to other folks, send it to your peoples. So, you know, if it resonates with them, they have a place to go.
Absolutely. And I want you to know you always got a place to go.
Thank you.
Yeah, you always got a place to go.
That makes me feel good.
For sure, man. Healthy relationships, yo. We putting that on blast.
Yes.
For real, in a good way.
Yes.
Right? We need a lot more references for healthy relationships. That's marriages. That's people that's just coming into relationships. That's people that's been in it for 5 years, 35 years, 60 years. Right?
Everybody needs a healthy relationship.
There's just a shortage out here of healthy relationships being shown during the quote unquote gender war that we don't even acknowledge. But for your sake, I just said it. Right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to dive in. Discipline versus will.
So, you know, I always got to go to the handy dandy laptop because we want to make sure that while we are giving our insight on what we know and what we have learned, we want to make sure we're giving you all some information that sticks also.
Stick it like glue. Shade pole.
We both have talked about what each one of these things means. What does discipline, self-discipline mean? What does will mean? Willpower, right? You hear it in different jargon depending on the circle that you're in and having the conversation about. But when we're talking about discipline, we're obviously, for our purposes, for enhancing your personal accountability. We
sure.
are talking about self-discipline, okay? And we're not talking about it from the negative sense. We're not talking about disciplining your children or whatever. We're talking about digging deep and finding the thing that sticks for you to enhance your habits and routines. So when we talk about self-discipline, this involves creating habits and routines that become automatic over time. Okay. When we talk about discipline, we're talking about doing the thing over and over and over.
Give us an example.
Making your bed.
Okay.
You have to be disciplined to get up and do that one small thing. And if you do that one small thing every day, it will lead to other habits and routines that can lead to bigger habits and routines that lead to you achieving a goal for the day, a goal for the week, a goal for the month, a goal for the year, short-term, long-term goals. So when you're talking about discipline, you're just talking about consistency.
Consistency.
Doing the thing over and over, setting those habits and routines that helps you get to your goals more efficiently, I'll say.
Okay.
Now you brought up a very good definition of willpower versus discipline, and I really want you to I want to point that out. So when we were brain dumping in the car, you said that discipline was multiplying the acts of willpower over and over until they become habit.
Yeah.
And that comes from within, or externally. So you can have discipline. Your self-discipline can come from an internal space, or it can come from external. I think, and I didn't say this earlier, but I think that it probably sticks more if it's from an intrinsic and internal space.
I agree with that.
You know, I think externally it's more like motivation.
Yeah.
You know,
I think discipline gets a bad rap because of, movies and books and things like that that we grew up upon watching. Right.
Yeah.
And when we think of discipline, we think of a disciplinary action put against us because we did something wrong.
Yeah.
So it's a negative connotation, at least in my mind, when I hear discipline.
Yeah.
And I'm always thinking that discipline is enforced from another outside of ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. For instance, personal trainers and their trainees, when they have to train their clients, they're instilling discipline in their clients. Right. And so that doesn't say that the client never had discipline in their life. Maybe they lost it for whatever reason. Right. And so they're just reinstilling the focus of discipline. But I think that, like you said, that there is a place where we can have discipline from within ourselves. And that's the one that lasts longer.
Yes. Yes. When we look to external, our environment, the things around us from an external sense to try to gain discipline, it only lasts so long. Not that it doesn't work. It doesn't last as long. So you wake up and you watch a motivational video, 5 minutes a day. You see those videos that are like, watch this every single day. And it's like 10 minutes or 11 minutes.
Be annoying.
And it's cool, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a good jump start, but until you can hear yourself saying those things over and over, maybe instead of watching someone else's video as your primary means, you create your own. Maybe you go to your voice memos and record your own, motivational affirmations, mantras, things that you can say that are actually meaningful to you. Yeah. And when you hear it from yourself, maybe it will stick.
That's a key takeaway, y'all. I hope y'all pick that up.
Yeah.
Because I'm picking up what you're dropping off.
Well, I'm glad. Yeah. This is my wheelhouse. So
yeah,
I'm going to go on to the next part did you have anything else to say
I
about
wanted to. So the definition that I came up with, can you read that again real quick?
It says multiplying the acts of will over and over until they become habit.
Multiplying the acts of will over and over until they become habit. That's self-discipline. So then what is will?
So I looked up the definition online, and willpower or will, it involves resisting short-term temptations in order to achieve long-term goals.
Okay. And then what did I say?
And you said that will is the act of overriding immediate impulses that would have long-term negative effects.
Okay. So just basically saying the same thing. Yeah. And I agree with, what I'm going to not agree with the definition, like the true definition of will, you know what I'm saying? I do believe that. I think will is super important when we're talking about creating change. Any kind of change that we're looking to have that's going to affect us long term. I think the building blocks start with will. It starts with a person having the will to change.
Yeah.
And not needing the outside influence as much, because at the end of the day, anyone can come at you and say, doctors can tell you that you need to change your eating habits. Your arteries looking like, a straight sewage. You know what I'm saying? A spouse could come to their partner and say, your drinking is affecting everything and everyone in the household. But it's something inside that triggers. It's not any outside influence, discipline, whatever you want to call it, that can trump what comes from inside out.
Yeah. Yeah. I look at it in this way. So discipline is creating the habits.
Okay.
Right? Creating positive habits and routines. Willpower is breaking the bad habits.
Okay. So then now we would need both of them to coexist in order for change to happen.
Yes, and so I do think that you need both, right? Because if you are looking at it from a standpoint of going to the gym, right? You can be disciplined and go to the gym 5 days a week, 3 times a week, 7 days a week for 40 minutes a day, an hour a day. But if you don't have the willpower to resist eating sugary foods, fried foods every day that you work out or every other day that you don't work out, does the discipline in going to the gym really matter?
Yeah, I hear you.
So yeah, in that case, you need both. You need both of them to coincide. I had another example on here. So I can have the will to resist purchasing an expensive purse, getting that new pair of shoes, that new outfit, but I cannot be disciplined in saving and investing my money. So maybe I don't spend $2,800 on those pair of shoes, but I might blow it on, an outing.
Well, then you don't have the will at all.
But you have the will to not buy that thing.
But you don't. So is it really about what's being bought, or is it about just the act in general? You don't have the will to save. There's nothing important enough that is driving that person to save the money.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but in some people's minds, it's like, well, I'm not spending money on something frivolous like, these shoes or this bag or whatever, this new hairstyle. But they also can say, and this is an excuse. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or whatever,
we
but they can
keep it
say,
all the way funky up here.
You know, I have the willpower to resist buying that stuff, but you know, I still don't know how to manage my money.
Right.
Even though they might have it and they may not spend it on the things that they consider frivolous, they may spend it on something that is more meaningful to them, like an excursion, you know, but that's still an excuse.
Yeah.
For not having the discipline to save and invest your money so it can grow.
So that would be on us as coaches to kind of move the light from there and move it to this other thing that was the real problem. And that, you know?
Yeah.
Because if they're identifying this one thing here that way, and we're like, oh, well, now that's just the effect. That's not even the real problem that we need to change. That's just an effect of what's going on. That would kind of be on us.
Right. Right. And that's the thing that we would, you know, instill and in our coaching is that, you know, there is a certain amount of self-discipline that you have. There is a certain amount of willpower that you need to implement. Because at the end of the day, we have to get to the root of whatever challenge.
Right.
If someone has an issue with, say, speaking up in a room, networking well, because in a previous experience, they may have lost a job for speaking up. You know, they have the discipline, they know how to do it, but they had this traumatic experience and that probably happened years ago, but now they don't even know why they don't have that discipline to say, you know what, and courage to say, this is what I want. This is what matters to me. This is what's going to, you know, propel me. This is what's going to progress me. And they just don't have that discipline to say, you know what, I'm not going to allow this fear that I have to stop me from going out for whatever it is I want.
I got you. I think there's a couple ways to look at this because I think discipline and will from, I guess from a definition standpoint from the dictionary, seem to make it like one, like they can stand alone without each other. And in my mind, I think that they can't stand alone. But I also think that when we look at discipline is more like a book smart way of saying of the same thing as will being more spiritual and discipline being more like I said, a book savvy way of the same thing. This is just in my own mind though. I'm not saying this is what it is.
So are you still looking at it from an internal way versus an external?
Yeah, I mean, because to keep it all the way funky, like somebody can impose their will on you. Just like they can impose their discipline on you as well. And that discipline can force you to change.
Right.
Or them imposing their will on you can make you make a change in that moment.
Can you share the difference? Like someone imposing their discipline on you, or someone imposing their will on you to cause change.
Got you. So when I think of discipline, I think of a process. And so it goes back to what you said, when we're talking about discipline, we're talking about a stretch of time, right? And then with will, it's like in the moment, the impulse in the moment for that block of time. And it may happen again, but it's a short amount of time, right? Like a snap, an instance. So military disciplined you and they have a process in how they discipline you in boot camp. They train you up to speak when spoken to by pretty much, if you speak out of turn, you get disciplined through physical exercise. So when you don't want to do physical exercise, you learn to shut up.
I see.
And so from that, you learn discipline. So that way, when you are spoken to, if you're called, sir, yes, sir, this, you know what I'm saying? They teach you how to speak to certain ranks, right? And give you that discipline to understand how to fall in line, but also give you the space to understand when you can speak up as well.
Yeah.
The will, imposing the will is almost like, let's say that you have 2 kids and clearly one of the kids is picking on the other. Now, me being a bigger adult, I don't necessarily have to put my hands on the kid. I can look a certain way. I can flash a certain look. I can impose a will to them to say, yo, stop that. And there's an energy behind my tone. I impose my will on the child and they stop. I didn't put my hands on them. I didn't have to put them through no process. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like in that flash, I imposed something that couldn't be seen, but could only be felt.
Got you. I got you. That makes sense. Because at first I was like, well, gosh, how do you impose your discipline on someone else? But I mean, that makes sense because they want to, military wants to press upon you, this is the way to be.
Right.
This is the way that you act in this instance, in this setting.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you will be disciplined.
Right.
The negative connotation, there's a consequence for you not adapting to their discipline.
Right. And so I think because now we attribute the action, the consequence, to a physicality thing, then it changes people's perception and it makes them fall in line.
Yeah.
But what we don't realize is when we're not disciplined, there is consequences that aren't necessarily physical, but they still affect your livelihood.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the same breath or token, if not more.
Right.
Right. Like if you aren't disciplined with saving money, right, then look, it doesn't affect your livelihood. Like you could be going to the gym and all that, but if you ain't good with money, you may not have a place. You may not have a car to get to the gym. People may look at you crazy. You may start, and that's when all of those mind tricks start coming.
Yeah.
Right. But when I think about will, I think like we're born with that. We're not necessarily born with discipline. Like from a childhood, we're born with the will to do creative things. We're born with the will to be creative.
And to do stuff over and over again.
Right.
Like a kid.
Like we're wired that way.
Falling off the sofa.
Wired.
But they really are trying to get off the sofa.
Yeah.
They're not, their intention is not to fall.
Right.
Their intention is to get down.
Right.
And so I noticed this with my niece. She's only 1, but she just a couple of months ago was getting to the edge of the sofa and just like she would go like
Peer
just
over that
no
thing.
filter, just go over because she didn't understand the sensation of like falling, like that didn't scare her to fall because she didn't know what that felt like. Fast forward a couple months later, she did get to the point where she would look over, she slide to the end of the sofa and she look over, but then she learned just over time the will to keep going and keep trying and keep trying. She now, just like I said, a couple months later, is turning her body and like sliding down feet first, because now she knows what it feels like, that falling sensation.
Yeah.
She has an idea of what that feels like. And now she knows, oh, this is a safer way to get down. I won't hurt myself if I do it like this.
And that was all on her. That wasn't anybody showing her how to do it. That wasn't no adult trying to get on the couch to show her. And that's what I'm talking about. So I think discipline is a learned action later. And it has to be imposed from an outside source, and then we internalize it and then create our own way. But some people get rid of it, or they just don't adhere to the discipline. And so they're not good with it. Right. For long stretches of time. But I think will is something that we're all born with. And it can be diminished when someone else imposes theirs, right, on us as children, right? Parents imposing their will on us. Or if we fail at something and we don't have somebody to kind of reinforce our will. You see what I'm saying? Like if you have the will as a child, I don't know, many of us learned to ride bikes.
Yeah.
I love bikes, right? And so I was really good at riding bikes, and I wanted to be a professional BMX biker at one point when I was a kid. I used to spray paint my bike and all that. Used to do the handlebar tricks, right, and all of that. And then it got to the point where we had to do jumps, right? So there was a forest, and they had like a trail, and they had like the jumps with the gaps in between.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so I used to see people in the neighborhood. We used to all travel and ride. It would be like 10 of us on bikes, and we'll go to the trail. And I didn't have the will to go to that next level. I was scared to do it. When I actually did it, I fell, and it scared the mess out of me.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to curse as much, y'all. So the mess out of me. If I had someone to reinforce right then and there to say, nah, that's what's supposed to happen. Get up and go right at it again, right? I think that I would have had a different trajectory with biking. But because I sat there, thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, saw how everybody else was, jumps. And I was like, I can't do that. My willpower was shrinking in the moment to when I just was like, you know what, this ain't for me. And I just never did the jumps.
So wait a minute. Okay. So, because I want to make sure that I am like tracking the way that I'm tracking. Because I'm listening to you.
Yeah.
And you're talking about will, but it doesn't sound like what we learned, like what we said willpower was. So willpower's in the online definition seems like it involves resisting impulses, whereas how you are describing it, it sounds like it's like a more intrinsic way of, without another word, it's not coming to me, going for it.
Yeah. So you would think when you fall, your first impulse would be to what? To not do it again. Right? Depending on the context. So with the bike, we'll use the bike scenario. I jump, I don't make it, I crash. My first impulse is, I got hurt. That's not the right thing to do. But if I wanted to succeed at the thing that I was doing, then I would need to have willpower to get over the fear to do it again.
So you would have to avoid you would have to resist the impulse of stopping and not doing it.
Right.
Okay.
Same thing with football.
Okay.
Some people, they don't know what it's like to get hit. But football takes you getting hit multiple times. If you don't get hit once, you're not going to get hit at all.
Yeah.
Right. So the willpower is to get over the fear. See, I know someone's gonna be like, well, that sounds like courage, right? And I to a degree, it could be that, but it's the impulse. It's like just that split decision, right? Like that fork in the road, and you can either go this way or that way. And willpower is the thing where it'll make sure that you go on the right path that you want to go on versus not going on that path and going down another path. And then it's like, oh, well, you didn't want me there anyway.
So is willpower like akin to, I lost my train of thought.
It gets deep though.
Yeah,
it does.
Because I really want you guys to understand they are complementary.
Yeah.
But the way that you look at each one, you know, determines which one you're going to use at which time, right?
All right. I was trying to weigh if I was going to go here with this, but I'm going to go ahead and go here because I know this is something that affects a lot of communities, not just ours, and I know it affects a lot of age brackets across the board. So, pornography. Okay? Pornography breaks your willpower.
Okay.
And here's how it breaks your willpower. You have a sexual impulse to procreate with whomever it is, and a natural impulse. That's what we have.
Yeah.
Your preference is on you. We just saying in general that you have an impulse to procreate, right? When you have something like pornography that makes it instantaneous, where you don't have to utilize all of your skill sets to engage in sex, that's a will power that's being broken and diminished. Because now if you start pornography and it's so easy to get wrapped in it, try to wean yourself off of pornography. After you do it if you engage in pornography one time a day for 2 months, and then you try to stop, it's hard because the faculties have now infiltrated that impulse. So it's an impulse thing, and your impulse is now tied to, oh, I can get riled up and release over here with that.
Right.
But that's not natural.
Right.
So your willpower gets diminished every time you do it because it's not a natural thing. It's not in the natural balance.
Got it.
So it gets hard because now it's like, oh my God, I could just get rid of the urge real quick. But willpower would have you being like, I can control my urge. I can control my impulse. And you do that multiple times. Now you have sexual discipline.
Got it. Okay.
The impulse every time to get to the point where now it becomes the habit.
I got it.
And now that's your discipline.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. I hope it makes sense for you guys now too.
Yeah. Yeah. Because in pornography, that's, people say, oh, it does, it lowers sperm count. It rewires your mind. I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not going to sit here and agree with that. Yeah. You can go and research that yourself. But what I do know is that it affects your will power. Because like we know, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if you have a instance where you don't have willpower for quote unquote sexual urges, and you give into your sexual urges or temptation over and over and over again, you are weak-willed.
Yes.
And so for all my fellas out there, this is what women find attractive, is when you have discipline, sexual discipline, but your sexual discipline comes from having strong sexual will.
That makes that makes it all come together for me, because having the willpower is really putting in place the I guess the guide.
Right.
It's your guide. It helps you stay on track. Your willpower helps you stay on track.
Yeah.
But your discipline is what is creating the structure, the routines, the habits, and the thing that you are doing consistently to get to the goal of, in this case, having strong sexual discipline and willpower. Yeah,
because I don't think that there's a problem with having sexual impulses, because now we're just going against our nature.
Yeah.
The problem lies in is that you give into your nature, but you give into it when you shouldn't.
Yeah.
And that puts you in bad standings or in bad situations that you don't need to be in. So if you have strong will, you can pick and choose your opportunities. Right.
That makes sense. And don't let us get into the spiritual ties and connections of all of that, because that's a whole other conversation.
Right.
That is still necessary.
Yeah.
Still necessary. But when it comes down to it, what we want you to take away from this is you need to have a structure in place in order to, you need to be able to stay on track with your structure in order to get to whatever goal it is you're trying to get to. Fill in the blank with whatever goal you have, whether that is having the courage to ask for a promotion, whether it is starting your own business, whether it is maintaining a clean home, whether it is having a healthy relationship with your partner, whether it is embracing a grieving process and allowing yourself to experience it versus pushing it under the rug. There is a certain track that you need to be on in order to have the structure to get to the next step.
Absolutely.
In whatever goal you have.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think, and I'll probably end just the will part with this. Because if we look at it, you said you want to kind of look at it from a spiritual standpoint. So creating something. We just said painting. You have an idea in your head. You see it with all of its vivid color, the size of it, right? It's perfect in your mind. But then you have to take it from your mind and it has to come out from the mind, from the consciousness, wherever that is. And you got to get it out into the world, 3D style. What is the in-between process from the mind to it being tangible? Somebody may ask, or somebody may say, oh, that's creation. Okay. But in creation, there has to be something that powers it. And that, I believe, is willpower. I have the will to get this out exactly how I see it or exactly how I hear it in my mind. And I do it through a channel, right? Or a vehicle, which is either a pencil, a pen, a brush, an instrument. But the act of doing it is a sheer act of will.
Okay.
And you can train that over time to now it becomes your discipline in your craft. Your discipline in your art.
Right.
Right. Because to me, there has to be something, the in-between of what you see in your mind, where you want to be at and where you are, and what's the thing that's going to keep pumping that image of where you want to be at or who you want to be into this reality so it's just not in your head.
Yeah.
The person who's overweight sees a version of themselves in their mind, but what is the thing that's going to get it out every day?
Yeah.
To get to the point where you start shedding weight and you really start looking like the image that's in your mind.
Yeah.
The willpower.
And I mean, and even before that, like you have to say, hey,
got to.
This is what I want.
Yeah.
This is what I'm committing to. This is a, non-negotiation. I am doing this. I am committing to this. I am imparting my will to resist all of the things that would have me not have this thing happen.
Right.
And then once you've committed in that way to yourself, then you can start getting the willpower, like I said, to resist those things that would prevent you from doing the thing. And then creating your habits, the discipline to say, all right, I'm going to buy a new canvas every week. So every week you have something to paint on, and then that also imparts I'm going to engage in this act of painting, drawing, whatever, every week. That's your habit. And then the routine will come. I have to now make sure that my brushes stay clean. I have to make sure that they don't get hard and then they, become unusable. So you're now having the willpower to do the thing that you want to do. You have the discipline to keep it up. And before you know it, your craft becomes a goal that has the potential to increase your finances, connect you with other people, so many things. And then that's the thing also that I want to make known in this. Anytime we're talking about setting a goal, getting to a finish line, it doesn't have to be financial gain, even though financial gain is, amazing and necessary in order to live on this world, on this earth. We're talking about any type of success, any type of finish line that you are looking to get to, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of things that we do that might not necessarily be for financial gain. Like I'm not with you for financial gain. I'm with you because I want to create a life with you and travel along this path with you in partnership and union. And if, as a result of the things that we do, bring us financial gain, then that's cherry on top.
Yeah, it's not even a matter of if, it's more like just a matter of when
Right.
you're just aligned in that. You know what I'm saying? I definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
We should give them some solutions for maybe regaining their will, being reintroduced into their will, and being reintroduced into discipline. Because I know one thing that I saw was I forget her name. I'm gonna have to drop her name in the caption on the video section. And whenever this clip gets posted on social media, I'll make sure I shout her name out. One of the things that she had said in the video was instead of changing the verbiage, right, that we use when we're talking about creating a change.
Yeah.
So let's just say you want to
Oh, is this who you?
stop smoking. Yes.
Sade Zahari?
Yes. What was her name again?
Sade Zahari.
Shout out to you, because I came across your post on Instagram and it was a fire post. I came across it yesterday, actually. And she was saying how to change your verbiage. So let's say all right, we'll just take us. We don't eat meat, right? Okay. You don't want to eat meat. And so in your mind, you're telling yourself, I can't eat meat. But everybody knows if you tell a child they can't, they going to want to do it more. So you change just the word can't to don't.
Yeah.
Don't is like the end, meaning I don't do that, right? You sound very authoritative in that. I can't comes from like a child's place. I can't do that. I can't do it.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, come on and do that. I can't do that. I can't do that. Versus I don't do that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Just in when you say it, the power behind that is different.
Yeah.
So changing your verbiage around things that you want to change,
Yes.
I think is very key, super essential.
And it goes both ways. So being authoritative in, I don't do that. I don't engage in that. That's one way of changing verbiage, right? But also, that's another thing, saying but. Oh, I want to go, but I got to do da 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 da. You're making the thing that you have to do daunting. You're making it something that you really don't want to do, but as I have to resort to doing this. So instead of but, using the word and, and it sounds weird at first, but what you're doing in using and is letting the person know that you're speaking with, I would love to go with you. And I also have this commitment. So it's not saying that you don't want to do this thing with them unless you actually don't want to do it. Then you say, no, thank you. Right. But allowing the space to let others know that, yes, you mean this to me, you mean this much to me. And I also have this priority. I also have this commitment that is in this season of my life taking precedence.
Wow. It's like you instantly pull out a scale and they both become equal when you say and versus but. When you say but, the person who you may be talking to may feel second.
Right
to your thing. And if they are, it's just what it is, but I can understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
When you say and, you equal it out. So it's like, oh, like I'm just as important, but they need to commit to that. So it's okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So change your verbiage. Change your verbiage. That's one thing when it comes to shifting into activating your willpower, activating your discipline. Change your verbiage from I can't to I don't, or changing it from but to and.
For sure.
From changing it from no to not yet. You know, if it's something that you really, really want and you have all of these objections to and excuses to why you can't, just say not yet.
And the other one, I have to I get to. That one, that was a game changer for sure.
Yes.
Like when I know, and today I was like, oh, we have to pod. When you changed it, no, we get the pod today. Like we get the pod. Like, let's maximize the opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Saying I have to makes things obligatory, right? It makes it feel like a job, a chore. It makes it just very daunting. You don't want to do it, but you have to do it. You have to take the garbage out. Well, you get to take the garbage out because if you don't take the garbage out, then your house is going to smell like garbage.
And there's some people who don't get a chance to do that because they don't have garbage to take out. So it puts you in the space of gratitude.
Yes, absolutely.
Every time you do it. So, okay, changing but to and, have to get to,
and can't to don't.
Fire.
Yes.
Verbiage.
So change your verbiage. Number 2, commit. And I guess these are not in any order, you know, and one's not greater than the other, but changing, wait, what did I just say? Committing. Decide, guys. Decide. We're going to leave this in here because, you know, it happens.
Commitment. Yo, I'm trying to tell you what, that thing is hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's hard. Committing to yourself. But also, I mean, we can be honest. If you can't commit to yourself, you can't commit to somebody else.
That's a fact.
And if you can really live off of that, your life, your trajectory of things will change. A lot of things will change for you really quickly. But if you cannot commit to yourself, you cannot commit to someone else. And that other person better have the discernment to know who they're getting themselves involved with. If they can see that a person cannot commit to their own self, they're like, oh, ain't no way you're going to be able to commit to me.
Exactly.
Nah.
Exactly. And there's if you plan on being in any type of relationship, romantic, friendship, family relationship, you have to know that they all take work. Absolutely. And every single one of them is going to take a commitment that requires you to be disciplined to do things that cultivate that relationship.
Yeah.
And you have to have sometimes you have to have the willpower to say, you know what? I am going to not fill in the blank, do this thing with, you know, this person because I need to spend time with, you know, I get to spend time with this person over here. Yeah. Balance. It's not a word that we all like to use often because like, how do you balance? But prioritize. Okay. Prioritizing. So committing, changing your verbiage, committing to the thing that you are saying that you want, because we all are out here saying all the things that we're going to do. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. But we haven't done any type of commitment, made any type of commitment to doing anything that involves taking action towards that thing.
Talk to him.
And that is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
And I laugh because I can laugh at it because I've been in that place.
Right.
I can laugh at it because I have been in that place where I've said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then I may start it and I may not finish it.
See, and we're not laughing at y'all. We laughing with y'all.
We laughing with you, you know?
It's a difference for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So committing and then actually, you know, taking the first step. I think that would be number 3.
Which is starting small.
Mm-hmm.
I would think starting small. Keep it simple, starting small. If you want to get up earlier, don't go right for the whole, if you get up at 8 and you're like, I want to get up at 6, do not try to start waking up at 6 o'clock. Dial it back. 7:30.
Yeah.
Do that for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Then 7, 7:15. Take it as slow as you need to.
Yes.
To set yourself up for success.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, I seen somebody where there was a trainer, I don't even know who it is, but what they do for their clients is before they even get them in the gym for the first 2 weeks, all they do is get them to commit to putting on the clothes and driving to the gym. Get in the parking lot, get out, go to the gym door, open it, close it, go back to the car, go home.
Wow.
They don't even lift a weight the first 2 weeks.
Wow.
They have to commit just to committing to putting on the gym clothes, getting in the car and making the drive, the commute. If they can commit to that and they do that for those 2 weeks, then when they get to the gym, they can actually get there and start working out because they built that habit.
Mm-hmm.
They got discipline. They had the willpower to do it. They got discipline, and now they started to where, okay, no, this is cool. I can do this. I did it for 2 weeks. Now we can take that energy and move off of that into actually creating the change physically by being in the gym.
I love it.
Man, I don't know your name, where I saw it at, but yo, shout outs to you because that's fire.
That is, I mean,
Yeah.
and I've heard of people doing it. I've heard of people saying that they have done it. I don't know anybody who has actually done it, but it might seem like that is crazy. I'm not wasting my gas to go to the gym.
Right.
But it's really about starting small and taking that first step, because if you're not taking the first step, then there's no way that you're going to get to the end goal of fill in the blank thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Any of the last ones?
I think 3 is enough.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
I think three is enough, guys.
I'll say this real quick. Siding with solutions. So one of the things that you can do that I did is I have the thing that I want to change. I write down all the reasons why I would stay the same. And then I make sure that I double in solutions the reasons why I would stay the same. So I can side with the solutions for the change.
I like that.
It's tough work, but that if you're committed to it and you have the will to do it, you'll do it. Very simple. Keep it simple.
There you have it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
I did not wear this for this.
Nah, she didn't.
Podcast. I just really like the sweater. I like the sweatshirt.
It looks great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Book of the week.
Yo, book of the week.
We have a new book of the week, and Samuel is going to share this week's book of the week. I think it's a good one. I have not read it, but he has dabbled in it, so I'm going to let him.
Yeah. The Right Use of Will. The Right Use of Will.
This is by Cian. Hold on. Let me get to the
Cian de Rohan.
There we go.
The Right Use of Will is what it's called. It's a blue book. It has a very prominent blue on it. Okay.
He's just going to read a little bit of the synopsis.
Okay.
See it?
Yes. The Right Use of Will. It's a series, actually. Okay. And where are we at? Okay, the Right Use of Will series talks about the many ways in which our wills have been denied and explains how we can recover our lost will presence. This inner balance needs to be found. From that, outer balance can proceed, all right? Mm-hmm. But there was one thing I wanted to, freeing our will involves letting it show us within ourselves that is necessary to bring true heart balance between our spirit and will and manifest it in our body as evolution. So in this book, it almost personifies will as another person. Mm-hmm. And so you have to cultivate a relationship with your will. And so if you are very spiritual, then you understand like, oh, no, I get that wholeheartedly. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was alluding to earlier when I was saying the will is almost like the will grows with you.
Yeah.
But if you stun its growth by not tending to it, then it can remain a child. And so you have a childlike will as an adult. So you're not able to have the power to do the things that you want to do.
Right. Gotcha.
But you can improve your will's, adulthood by tending to it, by watering it, nurturing it. And so this book, that's what it goes into. The Right Use of Will by Cindy Rohan. Pretty dope.
Awesome.
Go get that.
We're gonna make sure that you have access to it. We'll put a link in the description so you can see for yourself. Check it out. Anything else?
Nah, we went, almost an hour. We said we was gonna do like 30 minutes today.
Well,
and we went for it.
Hopefully you found value in this. Again, if you have found value, please share this video with someone. Will and discipline, and also subscribe to the channel so you know when we upload every week, and when it goes live on the audio version.
Right.
You can get notifications and everything. And I think that's it. We appreciate you joining us.
Follow the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, of course. Mm-hmm. Right. So once the new episodes drop each and every Tuesday, you'll get a direct download so you can listen to it on your way to work, while you're working out, whatever you're doing. Share it with a friend. Y'all sit back, tune in, or tune in to the video version on Fanbase and YouTube, right?
Yes.
And follow us, the host of the Can I Talk My Shit podcast, on our websites and social media. You want to share your website?
TheLG.com. TheLellegee.com is the website. And the same name with an underscore is all of my social media.
Okay. And SamWalkerInspo.com is my website. You can go there and purchase merch and books. And you can follow me at Sam Walker Inspo on all social media platforms. Yo, it's been dope.
It's been dope.
It's always dope.
Episode 10.
Consistency. We got the willpower to do it.
Yes.
Right?
Have a great one, guys.
Y'all too, man.
Later.